Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're jumping straight into something fascinating. It's a really counterintuitive look at what it actually takes to achieve mental clarity and ultimately sustainable leadership in the business world. As leaders, we spend so much of our time strategizing our external environments, right? Managing teams, optimizing operations, trying to outmaneuver the competition. But what about our internal environment? How are we managing the literal engine driving every single decision we make? Today, we're exploring meditation. Not as some passive relaxation technique, no, but as a hardcore strategic asset for mental equilibrium.
Okay, let's dive into this because this quote we're looking at is a massive paradigm shift. Happiness and peace are also among the many causes of human suffering. It sounds totally backwards, right? For us, high-achieving leaders, the relentless pursuit of happiness and peace is usually the very thing driving us. We sacrifice our time, we burn the midnight oil. Honestly, countless people even cut ties with friends and family just in the name of securing this supposedly peaceful life. But treating these states as the ultimate finish line, that is exactly what creates so much of our pain.
So, Section 1, the mental prison. To really grasp why this pursuit is so damaging, we have to look at the trap we've essentially set for ourselves. Throughout history, we've basically turned our minds into overgrown gardens full of criticisms and opinions. We just let these weeds grow unchecked. And on the flip side, we've built these invisible prison walls around us through our binary likes and dislikes. This super rigid binary way of thinking where everything is just purely good or bad, a win or a loss. It just continues to inflict pain. We suffer because we're trapped in this constant, exhausting state of reaction.
Which brings us to Section 2, the happiness paradox.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows us why our typical approach is fundamentally flawed. In business, we're used to acquiring things, right? Market share, assets, top talent. But the reality that people really do not want to accept is that happiness and peace are not possessions you can just acquire. They're based entirely on emotion and your outlook on life. They are constantly prone to fluctuation, and honestly, their existence isn't even grounded in logic. Think about it. Even if you could somehow obtain happiness, how long would it actually last? The moment you stop frantically chasing these two goals, that is precisely when you'll truly be happy and at peace. Running after them literally only produces the exact opposite result.
Moving on to Section 3, meditation as the teacher.
So, what's the solution? How do we actually escape these self-imposed mental prisons? Well, meditation is the tool that can help us break out. And let's define it clearly here. It is a process that brings the mind to equilibrium, increases your awareness of reality, and heightens your concentration. We're not talking about just zoning out or napping on a yoga mat. This is an active, purifying force that serves as a massive strategic asset.
And what exactly are we purifying? Well, psychic irritants like hatred, jealousy, and greed. These are the specific things that keep human beings enmeshed in emotional bondage. By actively cleansing the mind of these irritants through meditation, we can actually start to make decisions based on reality and heightened concentration rather than just raw, unexamined emotional reactions.
Next up, Section 4, confronting the inner self.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because I have to warn you, this process isn't always a walk in the park. Meditation is called a great teacher because it cleanses the mind with patience and understanding. But confronting your inner self can be a truly painful crucible. First, you're forced to face dormant pains you might have pushed down for years. Then, you have to actually acknowledge those emotional experiences rather than ignoring them. Doing this allows you to finally overcome your insecurities and ultimately truly understand yourself. And that is so crucial. If you haven't first understood yourself by confronting your inner self, how can you expect to understand the people you lead?
And that deep self-awareness leads to a really profound shift. Realizing that one day you will die makes it incredibly easier to forgive and forget. Ask yourself, why hold grudges if I will not be in this world forever? Just let that sink in for a second. When you've learned to have true compassion for yourself through the difficult work of meditation, you automatically have compassion for others. And that understanding, that ability to move forward, is absolutely essential for leadership.
Finally, Section 5, breaking the walls.
So here's how we practically apply this mental equilibrium to our lives. Usually, our default setting is avoiding pain in favor of relentlessly pursuing pleasure and happiness. But doing that actually robs you of the fullness of life.
The reality we need to embrace is welcoming pain, because pain is actually there to teach you something. It serves a purpose. Even those totally dull, boring moments exist for a reason. Life is just a mixture of different emotional experiences, and trying to exclusively live in the positive ones is a recipe for endless frustration.
So here is the ultimate secret, the big climax of all of this. Welcome all emotional experiences without resistance. Meditation is the absolute best medicine for opening your eyes to see this reality. Joy, stress, peace, frustration, we need to welcome all of it without fighting back. You don't fight the weather, you just observe it. When you do that, when you truly stop resisting, your prison walls will fall automatically. The pursuit stops, and true clarity begins, which leaves us with this final thought. Are you ready to stop running and finally let your prison walls fall? There are tons of books on meditation out there, so find one that best speaks to your specific needs and start exploring emotional mastery for yourself. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.